The summer air in Springfield Township, New Jersey, felt ordinary that afternoon, the kind of day that blended quietly into memory. Warm sunlight, still streets, and the distant hum of suburban life. 16-year-old Jeannette DePalma stepped out of her home on Clearview Road, unaware that this would be the last time her family would see her alive. She told her mother she was heading to visit a friend. Nothing unusual, no tension, no warning signs, just a teenager heading out for what should have been a simple day. But she never arrived. As evening fell, concern turned into dread. Hours passed with no word, no phone call, no explanation. Her parents, growing increasingly anxious, contacted the Springfield Police Department the following day and reported her missing. At first, it seemed like a typical runaway or a teenager staying out late, but those who knew Jeannette insisted otherwise. She wasn't the type to disappear without telling someone. She had no history of rebellion that would suggest she'd leave voluntarily. Search efforts began almost immediately. Police questioned friends, neighbors, and classmates. They retraced her possible route to the train station. Witnesses were vague. Some thought they might have seen her walking, others weren't sure. Days turned into weeks. Hope slowly faded into uncertainty. Rumors began to circulate quietly in the community. Some said she might have hitchhiked, others whispered about strangers seen near wooded areas, but no solid leads emerged. The investigation stalled almost as quickly as it began. And then, 6 weeks later, something unimaginable would be discovered. Something that would turn a missing persons case into one of New Jersey's most haunting, unsolved mysteries. It started with a dog. On September 19, a local resident noticed something disturbing. Their dog had returned home carrying what appeared to be a human arm. Panic set in immediately. Authorities were called. The discovery led police to a remote, rocky area inside the Houdaille Quarry, a place locals already whispered about, known ominously as the Devil's Teeth. What investigators found there was chilling. Jeannette DePalma's decomposed remains lay atop a cliff. But it wasn't just the body that shocked them, it was the scene surrounding it. Accounts from witnesses described something eerie. Her remains appeared to be arranged within a coffin-shaped outline made from branches and logs. Small wooden crosses were reportedly placed nearby. Some even claimed darker details, whispers of a pentagram, animal remains, ritualistic symbols. Law enforcement, however, would later deny many of these claims. Still, the setting alone was enough to ignite fear. The location, the arrangement, the mystery. It didn't feel random. It felt staged. The quiet suburban case had suddenly taken on a sinister tone. News spread rapidly. Residents were horrified. The idea that something so disturbing could happen so close to home shattered the illusion of safety. And investigators were left with more questions than answers. Despite the disturbing scene, the autopsy provided little clarity. Jeannette's remains were severely decomposed, making it difficult for medical examiners to determine an exact cause of death. There were no visible fractures, no bullet wounds, no stab marks, nothing that clearly pointed to how she died. It was as if the evidence had vanished with time. However, the coroner suspected strangulation. It couldn't be proven, but it couldn't be ruled out either. Another strange detail emerged. Unusually high levels of lead were found in her remains. No explanation, no source, just another piece of the puzzle that didn't fit. Investigators were now facing a case with no confirmed cause of death, no clear suspect, no physical evidence of violence, yet everything about the situation suggested foul play. The case was officially classified as a homicide, but without answers, it quickly began slipping into uncertainty. As police searched for leads, One name surfaced repeatedly: a mysterious man known only as Red. He was described as a homeless individual living in the woods near the quarry, close to where Jeannette's body was found. According to locals, Red had disappeared shortly after Jeannette went missing. That alone made him a strong person of interest. Investigators tracked the lead, hoping it would finally break the case open, but it didn't. After further examination, authorities concluded that Red had no connection to the crime. Another dead end, another lost opportunity. Meanwhile, frustration grew within the community. People wanted answers, but the investigation was already beginning to lose momentum. Witness statements conflicted, stories didn't align, details blurred over time, and slowly, the case began to fade. 2 weeks after the body was discovered, the story took a dramatic turn. Newspapers began publishing shocking theories. Headlines suggested that Jeannette may have been the victim of a ritual sacrifice. The idea spread rapidly. The location, the devil's teeth, the alleged arrangement of the body, the reported crosses, it all seemed to point towards something dark. Fueling the speculation was a local pastor who publicly supported the theory of occult involvement. Soon, fear gripped the community. Parents warned their children. Rumors of witches and satanic groups operating in nearby Watching Reservation spread like wildfire. But there was one problem. None of it was proven. Law enforcement repeatedly denied claims of ritualistic evidence, yet the damage was done. The case was no longer just a murder, it had become a legend. Despite early attention, the investigation eventually stalled. There were no new leads, no suspects, no breakthroughs. Inconsistent witness accounts and lack of physical evidence made progress nearly impossible. Some officials even hinted at alternative theories, including a possible drug-related death. But again, there was no evidence. No drugs were found. No history supported that idea. The case simply stopped, filed away, forgotten by many, but not by everyone. Years passed, then decades. The mystery of Jeannette DePalma refused to disappear. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, interest in the case resurfaced. Weird NJ magazine began investigating after receiving anonymous letters. Journalists uncovered troubling possibilities: missing case files, allegations of a cover-up, overlooked suspects. The case gained renewed attention with the book Death on the Devil's Teeth. For the first time, the story was examined in depth, but still no definitive answers. Then, in 2024, a major update emerged. After reviewing original crime scene photographs, investigators stated something crucial. There was no evidence of occult activity. No crosses, no ritual symbols, no sacrifice. The most sensational aspect of the case may have been nothing more than rumor. More than 50 years later, Jeannette DePalma's case remains unsolved, but new theories continue to surface. In 2021, convicted serial killer Richard Cottingham suggested he may have been involved. He claimed he abducted a young girl while she was hitchhiking. Could it have been Jeannette? Authorities have yet to confirm. And so the mystery endures. A young girl leaves home one summer afternoon and never returns. A body found in a place called the Devil's Teeth. A story twisted by fear, rumor, and time. And a question that still remains unanswered. What really happened to Jeannette DePalma?